feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall. But tonight I'm letting it go. Spend my coin for sure. I'm gonna be myself, or I could be someone else. No one's stopping me now.
Hi everyone, welcome. If you are new here, I'm so happy to have you. If some of my peers and subscribers, welcome to today's channel. So for today, everything in today's video is going to be all about China. Yes, it's going to be a little bit about Taiwan and the state of the world, including as well as COVID-19 and the policy going there, along with the economic status, the superpower status. So it's going to be pretty much a jam-packed video today. So without further ado, I do want to quickly say that if you are new to the channel, just go to the description. Everything will be timestamped in the description below. This video may appear to be long, but all I do is just kind of jam-pack a video so you guys can just have all your questions answered in one particular video where you know exactly where it is based on its own topic. So just head to the description below to see what segments you like. It could be about 15 minutes long or even shorter. So it is definitely beneficial. Without further ado, let's just jump right into this, shall we? Now, for those of you guys who are talking about the New York City terrorist attack, we'll be doing a video about that probably next week. We're going to let this guy sit out, let the energy dwindle down, the fear and everything. Then we will continue forward talking about that the following week, right after Easter. On Friday, on East Earth Day, we're going to release a pre-recording between me, Marie, and Cassandra. It's a pre-recording. We're going to do the Green Revolution topic. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely wait. It is going to be a very good topic. I really hope to see you guys there. We may also do a little bonus reading and find out what's the path of the United States. Or if we don't have enough time during that live, we might just, well, pre-recording, excuse me. If we don't have enough time, we will continue forward doing a separate live sometime in the future covering a particular topic. Without further ado, let's just begin, shall we? I keep saying it, but we're actually going to begin this time, I promise. So this video is being recorded on April 14, 2022 at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're interested in booking a reading with me, just check the description below. Everything will be listed there for you. And here are some disclaimers on your screen right now. Feel free to read them on your own time if you would like to. Other than that, let's just speed ahead. This video is just for entertainment purposes only and for education purposes only as well. Here's some other disclaimers on your screen if you would like to read them as well. All right, let's begin, shall we? All right, so the first question that we have here today is, what is the energy like right now between Taiwan and China? That is very important. So let's take a look. Spirit Angels, please tell me, what is the energy like right now between Taiwan and China? Clarifier. Okay. All right, so China is going through some difficulty right now. So let me take a look. Let me put this comment. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see it's a little better. All right, so China right now in the past went through a lot of difficulty, went through a lot of governmental change, trying to find its own identity, so to speak. Right, if you're not familiar with during World War II, China used to be, if I am correct, don't quote me on this, used to be a democracy, if I'm right, at least a temporary one, to say the least. And what ended up happening, the Communist Party of China, which was led by Mao Zedong, ended up trying to push out the current government, which is where they all fled to Taiwan. And ever since then, Taiwan used to be a part of China, the original China, which is the original flag of Taiwan, was the original flag during 1940s China. So really, the reason why the Communist Party of China wants Taiwan is because ever since the 1940s, they technically still had never been able to defeat democracy out of China completely. And because of that, the United States has backed Taiwan as a separate independent nation, when in really retrospect, China sees it as a threat because they were unable to be seen as victorious. But that's why the King of Swords reverses here. It's a mental thing. It's a trauma, right? We have here in the present current fighting going on violent, volatile. I'm seeing people around in this particular area within this region between Taiwan and China. There's going to be some sort of issues, maybe some sort of competition. I don't see literal war, but I do see there is going to be a ramped up situation where maybe they're going to start doing threats. And it's theoretically possible that they could be doing military exercises within the ocean, the East China Sea. They could be threatening them using economic means or whatever is necessary to sort of bring down whatever country is, doing this without having some sort of direct conflict of some sort. But there is conflict here nonetheless, and it still should be considered conflict. Right, we have here on the right here in terms of present, the future, we have here Shoshin. This is predictability, right? This is an unstable world, right? We have the predictable card here, which is the Hermit. Finding the light in darkness, trying to find a solution of some sort. The problem between China and Taiwan is finding a solution, right? That's what the future holds. And as long as the world is not evolving their interests and playing like their own puppeteers in Taiwan and China's affair, I don't see anything escalating. I do see that China and Taiwan eventually, on its own national terms, will end up finding a solution that works for both of them. So there is hope in terms of that. But we do have here that with pressure from other countries, by this time, the United States experiences a high rise of a woman president, Madam President, so to speak. That's when issues might start to begin. Intervening in Taiwan and China's affair when you're not supposed to. Putting your mouth where you're not supposed to, right? We have here Madam President, the United States. It also symbolizes democracy. What this could very well mean democracy in Taiwan. And there is some sort of leaving here. Now, this can mean that China gives up and leave Taiwan alone, which is why it's depicted in red. China leaves Taiwan alone. Or it's possible that democracy leaves Taiwan. It's also possible that China and the United States don't want to have direct confrontation, like we said, and that the United States backed out of Taiwan. Right? It's possible, and that's what the energy is going. The energy is it's not like Ukraine and Russia. It's more calm. It's more stable. So, if anything, I don't see any sort of war breaking out, particularly between China and Taiwan as of now. The current energy. Now, things can very well change over the course of a couple of years. Even tomorrow, it could very well change. The energy as of now, with the current choices that they're making right now, this is where we're heading. Again, this is not a prediction channel. I'm just reading energy like I always do. And I'm just telling you, relaying you the message. All the channel is meant to do is just to bring awareness and love and light to the situation so that we lessen the damage and help as many people as possible who are stuck in unfortunate situations. That's all that the channel is for. The next question that we're going to ask is, will any sort of conflict arise from the East China Sea or mainland China or Taiwan? Let's get a little bit more specific here. Spirit Angel, tell me, will any sort of conflict arise from the East China Sea or mainland China or Taiwan? Flip the deck. Will there be any sort of conflict that will arise from the East China Sea or mainland China or Taiwan? I'm hearing that they might just make their own Taiwan, like an artificial island similar to Taiwan, but they may not even take Taiwan. They just make their own. That actually would be a good solution, not to say the least. We have the Hermit card reverse. Unpredictability, which is why it's reversed, right? Unpredictability. We have the Devil in reverse, not being able to have full reigns and having all the land masses that China, original China, want to own, which is why this card is reversed. A continuation of war, so to speak. But it's like China, the Communist Party of China, wants to finish the war that they started in 1940 and take Taiwan. But it's reversed, and it's telling me they haven't been able to get the complete land masses that they wanted. right? Underneath the predictability card, we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have the 9 cupped upright. And what this is telling me here is, will any sort of conflict arise? No, not necessarily, but there will be something else that will rise, particularly because climate change is going to be a very big issue coming China's way. Taiwan will look at something that is in the past, so to speak. That China has more problems to focus on, and Taiwan is not one of them, right? And adding that, I do see the relationship between Taiwan and China strengthening. I do feel like they're going to come to some sort of agreement that they need to be in something together. Maybe they find a common enemy and they just, even though they're enemies, they become frenemies, so to speak, where they realize that there's a common threat and they team up together until that common threat is removed. This very well could symbolize climate change bringing two unlikely partnerships together to fight a common enemy, which in this case will be climate change. And I do feel like in some way China will play a major role in this particular area. And what it's going to do is going to allow China and Taiwan to realize, you know what? Maybe it might just be better off that we're separated, but as long as we're friends, we keep the world at peace, but we'll also keep us at peace. Like, we don't have to worry about some sort of threat of invasion of some sort. Like, there's no reason for it because we realize that we work so well together that there is no reason for an invasion of some sort. As long as we remain friends, there is no need for it, right? Which is why the King of Wands come here. But I also feel like this is also about stability in some way. That there is China's no longer looking to the west. They're no looking towards Taiwan. You notice they're looking back to the past here. They're looking back and they're looking at it and they're saying, I think it's time that we come to an end. But I do feel like there is going to be some sort of conflict that will have to arise for this moment to come to an end. So there might be some sort of confrontation, like I said, but it could be deadly. It could be a war of some sort, but eventually there will be an end. There will be a solution. Now, this energy could very well be far into the future. It could be centuries from now, but there is some sort of conflict that leads to the end of the energy that's in China feeling towards Taiwan and vice versa. I do see there is an end here. And we have here that the plan is not in place right now. The plan is not to be with the diplomatic with Taiwan. That's not the plan here. The plan is to take Taiwan. Right? That's why the waters are murky. Right, the water is kind of chaotic. It's not stable. Doesn't have a true foundation, even in water. I do feel like this might also be relying on the fact that maybe China wants Taiwan because of the oil rigs. Maybe they want to expand their overseas territory. Whatever that is, there is a motive here, and it has to do with water, the ocean control. The control of the Pacific Ocean is very important to China. We have the King of Swords here. Eventually, China will get what they want, but I also feel like in some way, Taiwan will also receive some sort of benefit from it. So I feel like there might be some sort of mutual agreement here, because on the left side here, we also have the Queen of Wands here, which is the spirituality sense. Maybe potentially China and Taiwan during this time period, China is undergoing governmental change, and because of it, Taiwan is able to influence China in a way that no other country is able to, and potentially China could become a democracy. So let's take a look at that. Let's ask about democracy here. I think it will be very interesting to kind of see how that will play out in in modern day scenario. Okay, Spirit Angel Tommy, will China become a democracy and be influenced by Taiwan? Yeah. All right, so it's telling me the Ace of Swords here is that eventually the end of authoritarianism is going to come to an end, which is why we have this here. It's an olive branch, right? We're taking authority and shoving it into the king, right? China's president alone is almost like a dictatorship, like an authoritarian type dictator. However, that is coming to an end, and democracy is on its way to China. Right, without a doubt, I do feel like there is some sort of revolution that's going to be put forth. Right now, China is going through the very mild stage of it. I do feel like by the time China will become a democracy, will probably be starting around the time period of 2060. There is going to be some rebellion that will take place. China by itself won't become a full democracy, a full functioning democracy, by at least 2110. I do see that it's going to take some time for China to get its grounding, to get its proper footing. And China will become one of those democratic countries of the future. Right now, they're still going through trouble, and they're still going to continue doing that for the next couple of decades. We do have the two stories here reversed. What is on the left side here, was it in the past, and that short card is telling me here is that there's going to be some sort of decision that's going to be made, but it's going to be a very easy decision, right? Because we're talking about here the democratic China in the future, right? Now, in terms of this, it could also be hinting at, when I say democratic China, this could also be hinting at Taiwan. Taiwan is the original version of the democratic China from 1940s. So I'm going to ask the card to be a little bit more specific here. We also have here, I think, eventually the government will just give in, or the government might just change the ideology overnight. I don't see any sort of revolution, any sort of conflict, maybe some sort of protest, but I don't see any sort of like rebellion against their own government. Is this China or is this Taiwan? Taiwan is upright, China is reversed. Okay, so it reversed. So this is China, like I said. So this is the King of Pentacles reversed, right? This would make a lot of sense that this card comes out, because China is right now the economic superpower. It had overshadowed the United States and took out almost all of the United States buyers, when especially in wholesale prices, right? So it makes sense that the King of Pentacles showed up, right? However, in the end, this is where China's heading. We have China, Communist Party in the past. We have a brand new democracy where two people are interacting with one another, right? We have the dogs here, and you see here in this aspect, the old man is talking to nobody. And that's the Communist Party in China right now. Communist Party in China has no ally. If it does, it does not have enough to be able to sustain itself long term. But in terms of democracy-wise, you're talking to two people, which is barely what democracy is all about. Democracy is all about communication between two people, between two different opinions, and coming to a common solution. At least that is what was founded upon. Doesn't mean it actually goes into practice. We had this guy on the ground here with a ton of stories in his back, and that's reversed. Eventually, this will be a better path for China forward when it comes to democracy in the end in China. The next thing that we're going to ask, will the United States find itself at war with China over the next 10 years? Now, the thing is, I do want to quickly state that all my cards, when I read, doesn't mean it's going to come true. It's 100% accurate. The thing is for that is that sometimes the cards, let me just say, the cards are 100% always right. It is the interpreter who's always wrong sometimes. And the thing for that is sometimes we don't have the proper vocabulary to directly interpret what we see energetically in the cards. And so sometimes our vocabulary don't have the words to actually describe what we're seeing, and sometimes it gets lost in translation. It's very similar to a language dialect, where you go from Spanish to English and you try to find a word in Spanish that could be easily translated in English, but there is no translation for that. So it's kind of the same thing. So think and assume tarot cards as another separate language with its own thing that needs to be translated into English language, which may sometimes that energy may not have the proper language or wording that is needed to properly translate certain languages or certain words that is needed. So again, the cards are always right, is sometimes the interpreter that is wrong. So do not get in a state of fear. Will the United States find itself at war with China over the next 10 years? Now, again, this is going to change over time. This is as of right now, the current energy that we're going in with, the current choices that are being made by both China and the United States. No. I don't see any sort of compensation of some sort. I do feel like it's going to be like, okay, this is what it feels like to me, what's between China and the United States. It feels like China and the United States, what they're doing is they're basically at that point where they're kind of like saying, Mom, look what they're doing. Look what he's doing. He hit me. No, and even though the kid didn't hit you, you say it anyway to get them in trouble. It's kind of like that. It's like everyone tattletelling on one another but they're never actually going to have a direct compensation in terms of militaristic uses. But I do see other means and avenues as ways of warfare, modern warfare, so potentially cyber warfare, bio weapon, but there is no sort of direct compensation when it comes to physical missiles or guns or being shot off into the distance. I do see it's going to be some other form of means in terms of compensation. But in terms that I don't see direct bloodshed. There may be some sort of bloodshed that may be caused by something else, potentially indirect harm, like bioweapon, for example. But it's not going to be directly going onto the battlefield and having a fair ground in. It's not going to be that. But in terms of China, I'm seeing here that they are more thinking about businessmen like. So I think in terms of the war between China and the United States will never happen, and particularly in the way that we would think it would happen, particularly because the business world. The business world had a lot of influence between the United States and China, and this will be devastating for the stock market itself. And so this would not be ideal for anybody, and particularly within those who are within the 1%. We have the Hierophant reverse, and the Hierophant reverse is telling me here in this aspect, it is telling me that don't be wary of China because the people who control China and the United States, in particular when it comes to their relationship, is particularly the business class. The business class is what will dominate between China and the United States. So really what it is just an economic showdown, but it's not anything more than that. There is going to be no direct conflict between China and the United States. It might be indirect conflict. Could be like what we saw with the Soviet Union and the United States with Vietnam or Korea. Right? It could be something like that as well, but there is no direct conversation nonetheless. We have the Page of Pentacles. As long as money is flowing into the hands of the wealthy, the likelihood of war between China and the United States happening is almost zero. But it would not be within the best interest, and politicians within themselves are oftentimes within the pocket of the wealthy anyway. So it would not be within their best interest to go to war with China regardless. But it's all talk, no action. We have here a reverse of the Hierophant. It's also the reverse of the Pentacles. Fairness, justice, right? We have money here, trying to make sure the stock market is afloat. By going to war with China, it will decimate the stock market permanently. And both the United States and China will have a lot to lose, and something else will take its place. Potentially, India will become the #1 leading economic superpower because the United States and China are too focused on fighting each other that they both fall out of the top 4 economic superpowers. We have yet the Page of Swords here in the future, though, in terms of this question. Will the United States find itself at war with China? No, because the United States over time will eventually find itself back on top again with the Page of Swords. So no, it won't be any sort of competition directly, at least, between China and the United States. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of today's video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. We want to continue forward with the next segment of today's video. We're going to ask about China's involvement in the third world countries. I provided them with free resources such as hospitals. What is the real game plan here? So the reason why we're asking this particular question is, you think about it, if you really wanted to destroy a country and bring them down, what you would first do is you would, as a smart individual, you would take away all the economic, trading partners, take away those. Then you would take away any potential allies and make them become reliant on you. Now, remember, the United States and Europe had a very bad history of colonization in Africa and South America, making them perfect breeding grounds for China to step in and say, hey, I'm not here to colonize your country. I'm here to help you recover from what the Europeans and Americans did to you. And because it allows the countries to accept free resources like hospitals, for example, was things that they cannot refuse. Those are basic necessities, forcing them to owe their constant debt to China. So if there was ever to be some sort of war that would ever be breaking out or start, those countries owed a major debt to China. They may have to give up their entire country to China if China says it, because they owe China a lot. And they know that they can never pay China back. This will be a game plan. It's a cruel one, What is the game plan? Those people are taking it and accepting it. Those politicians are accepting it. Because if you think about it, it's the short term, but the long term for the country, it will hurt them really badly. And, you know, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be pretty because we don't know what China's real end game plan here is. Nothing is ever free. There's always a cost. And that's why I'm leading with this. So let's take a look and see what China's end game plan is here. Like, what is it? Then at the end of today's video, we are going to talk about China's zero COVID policy, China's superpower status. And that's it. That's the end of today's video. So let's jump in. Okay. We're going to use this one, Hit Wisdom of the Hidden Realm. Let's kind of take a look and see why China doing the things that they're doing in the countries that were very easily decimated by European powers and American influence of the past. Why is China interfering and giving countries, third world countries, free resources in countries that were very easily hurt by European powers due to colonization or American influence? What is China's endgame plan here? What is the endgame? Okay, so the first thing we have here, the Western tree, patience and stillness. You see this person, look at this person here. Look at them laying down with nothing. Third world country, right? We're talking about the Western tree, patience and stillness. Realizing that, you know, they appear as people who are doing good, who are helping those who are disfranchised. But in reality, it is not what it is, right? These are the people who are targeted. They are targeted and believe that in a way that these people are accepting all these resources because they don't have enough to have. So when they have this, they're like so happy, they're excited, but then come the cost always. And that's why the Western tree is reversed, patient and sona. They will be expected of them in the future. There will be something that is expected in the future, which is why it's reversed. The next card here in the past years, we have the River Queen, flow, letting go, natural movement. We have a mermaid. The River Queen, flow, letting go, natural movement. It's reverse. You remember how I said they have to let something go in order to accept something that they need at the moment, but it'll be in the term to the long term, they have to give that up because they owe a gratitude, a debt to China. We don't know what that debt would be in the form of, but there is debt there. And that's why this card comes up reversed, because they owe something. And the national movement is just not a national response, because it has no genuinity to it. There is no genuine appreciation to help these countries. There's always some sort of agenda behind it. On the right here, we have the Lady of the Gift. Generosity, receiving, withholding. I love how the cards just tell me exactly what I just said and reiterating, going back to what I said before. Generosity, receiving, withholding. The Lady of the Gift. This is China. It's reverse because it's not being genuine, like I said, but they are receiving it. But what China is doing is they are making these countries become reliant on China, so much so that China can indeed, if they wanted to, can withhold their gifts to the countries, forcing the countries into submission, right? On the bottom of the deck here, we have is the altar priestess, preparation, prayer, sacred ritual. Preparation, prayer, sacred ritual, the altar priestess. This is some sort of plan that is being fabricated, being created by China in some way or some form for whatever agenda they have. There is some sort of plan here. There is some sort of preparation in the future that they plan to do. The card that comes after that is the Fire Prince. Optimism, aggression. They may use these countries in a time of war, which is why they may be using that as a plan to make them become easily submissive to China when the time is right, becoming allies with China. This, again, is just the illustrators, the meaning of the card, so there's no physical thing. And that's when it comes here, the Ice Queen. Ideas preserved, non-actions, entitlement. The Ice Queen. no emotional attachment to what is going on to this third world country that they are providing things to. The spiral dancer, the circular route, perception, right? They're perceiving other people and making them China be perceived as like, oh, China's not as bad as what the United States make it out to be, but that's all just an illusion. It's a perception that China wants you to think. And lastly, but not least, we have the ringmaster of scrutiny, discernment, clear vision, detailed. They have an idea in their head that they want to do, and that this is the way of having their own version of NATO. So that is why China's doing what they're doing. So now the next question that we're going to ask right now is China's zero COVID policy and its future. Now, I don't know exactly what is going on in China in terms of its COVID zero policy, but what I do know, there is some sort of locking down, things are shutting down again, high raised COVID-19 spiking. There are people being locked in jail, not being allowed to see their family and stuff like that. So we're going to take a quick look and see what's going on there. Then we're going to finish off with today's video with China's superpower status and see where they're going in terms of their future of the country. All right. Spirit Angel, tell me China's zero COVID policy and its future. What hold for the future of China's zero COVID policy? Okay. I love how they just set it up for me. They're like, read it like this. Okay. I love when they do that for me. Makes it everything easier. We have the temperance. Excuse me. I don't know why I just said that. Temperance. It's reversed. This is my card normally for COVID-19, the vaccine. This is also my card for high spiking in COVID cases in hospitals. It's reversed, and this is telling me here that they did not handle COVID the way that they originally planned or thought they had. They thought they got rid of it permanently. That is never the case when it comes to a virus. You cannot remove something permanently. You have to be directly isolated, and that may include being on an island by yourself. That is impossible in today's standard. So thinking like this, it's only allowing ignorance to take hold. And the middle card here is we have death. But China is lacking inability to, again, just for entertainment purposes only, the lack of inability to directly report what is really going on in China in terms of the cases, death rates, people who are getting COVID and stuff like that. There is some sort of stigma, some sort of cases that are not true 100%. And what it is telling me here that China experiences something a lot more worse than originally thought. And a lot of people are being affected in China, so much so that they're not looking toward the government to help anymore. These people in China are no longer looking to the government. But they realize that their government can no longer be relied upon. Because look at that. This is a family member, right? And look at all his family members here. And he said, I don't want my two other family members to be hurt or injured. We have the lack of proper governmental infrastructure to help us, right? Because look how dry that river is. It's basically telling you here that China's government is running dry. Right? It's no longer being as effective as it once was just in 2010. A lot of those people who were originally workers, who would have worked for China for so long and created manufacturing toys, had hurt China in the long run when they died due to COVID. So the mistreatment and the poor policy that was enacted by the zero COVID policy has actually hurt China's economic status. And because of that, we have the Ace of Pentacles here, which means that because of China's policy with COVID zero policy, the future of China rests solely on its economic status. And the Ace of Pentacles is here, telling me China will have to sacrifice something. And that sacrifice could easily come in the form of decreasing your economic superpower in terms of helping your own people. The question is, what one will China choose? Now, last but not the least, let's just do this one. China superpower status. Let's just take a look at that. How is China doing in terms of superpower status? What is the future of China in terms of its superpower status? Yeah, it's going to come to an end. We have the Hangman reverse. And China is right now is hanging a lot of the people upside down. They're not helping their people. They think they are, but they're really not. It's like, this is what it's like. It's like taking a group of class people, like say the class clown, and punishing everybody in the class because the class clown decided to do something funny. Everybody gets the blame for it, even though one individual is at fault. So instead of handling that one individual, you decided to blame the entire class. That is what's going on in terms of the policy with China. So in terms of that, a lot of people in China, Chinese people in general, are becoming disenfranchised with their own government, so much so that they do not want to listen to their own government. Again, this video is just for entertainment purposes only. We have here on the left side here, we have the emperor, right? The President Xi. I believe that he was the former president of China, right? Under when Donald Trump was still president. I believe so. He might still be president. Don't quote me on that. But I'm trying to read from a blank slate here. So the emperor card here in this aspect is telling me that they had a lot of power and authority in the past. But in the future, in terms of the superpower status, we have the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune in the future aspect when it comes to China is reversed. And it's telling me the Wheels of Fortune are about to turn for China, and they're going to go for worse. China now have to choose. Because a lot of the population are supposed to help them maintain their economic superpower status, enough so that the new generation can come take over at the right time has died out. And because of that, China is now dwindling in economic power and power overall, that is no longer going to have that stand-in that it once did. So for those of you guys who are very scared of China as of now, China's power is going to dwindle, right? And in the future here, we have looking at what China once was. And I feel like in this aspect, China could end up going through a governmental change, so much so that I'm also seeing right before they became a democracy, I'm seeing those the family-run country where they have oh my god, like the Wong or the Ding or the something. Oh my god, I'm not trying to be racist here. I'm just trying to remember. There's like a empire. It's an empire of some sort, but it's run by a family, kind of like a king and queen, but it's like Chinese, and then every 100 or 250 years, it changes to a new dynasty. It's going to be like a dynasty. I feel like they're looking more to a dynasty. So maybe the Wang dynasty or maybe like the Mongol dynasty, something like that more particular is what they're really going for in the future. When they look back decades from now at their past, they're going to be looking at the dynasty, the time of the dynasties, not the democracy. So possible that even though I said it looks like China could end up in a democracy, it's very well possible that we can end up in a dynasty, a Chinese dynasty, another one, or the renewal of one. And it's possible as well that the so-called the dynasty adopts different methodology of the democratic countries, similar to what China did with communism and combining it with capitalism. It's possible they can have the combination of both. So that is today's video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'll see you soon. Let me know in the comment section below what type of videos you'd like to see next. I right now having a little bit of trouble trying to figure out what to post on my channel, so I just been straight at it like blank. So it will definitely help me 100% if you can just comment below what you would like to see next. Other than that, I hope you have a very beautiful night, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.